Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Alex Rowe, and I'm here with GSU Panther Report. And can I just say it's a true honor to have Mr. Dr. Marc Lamont Hill with me.
Oh, thank you.
Journalist, scholar. I mean, can I add some more to your resume?
That's more than enough right now. I feel so tired and so busy, but I'm still excited to be here and excited to be doing this work.
Well, thank you. Okay, so you're about to hit the stage. Let's chat. Can we chat a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay, so your resume is about yay long. And it's only getting longer. I Instagram stalk you, so forgive me.
No.
Your interview with Wendy Williams.
Oh.
One of my most memorable interviews with you, because I say your resume is long. How was that interview for you as a journalist? And what do you do with the shirt that Wendy wiped her tears off on? What do you do with that?
First of all, I love Wendy Williams. Shout out to Wendy Williams. That's my girl, man. It's always interesting to interview people who you love to watch.
Right.
I've interviewed Phil Donahue. I've sat down with people, Tavis Smiley, people who I've enjoyed, Arsenio Hall, who I've enjoyed watching them interview people.
Oh my God, legendary.
Yeah, and Wendy was there. I grew up listening to Wendy on the radio, and then watching her show more recently. And she's dope. So
what do you do with the shirt? Do you have it as a souvenir at your house? I wouldn't imagine washing it though.
That's funny. No, it's funny. I actually still have the shirt. But more importantly, I think I have just a really good memory of Wendy. That was my first time. We've gotten really cool since then, and it was just a good opportunity because other journalists, it takes a lot to get them to open up.
Right, and you made her cry. She was about to take off her wig, honey, and hit you with it. So I'm just like, she's like, oop, no, but I mean, you almost made her cry.
She was good to me, and she respected the work, and I respect her work, and she's interesting. And unlike most people, Wendy Williams is willing to be pretty transparent about her life. Most people put up really sturdy, thick walls, and you'll get the same answer from them. You could talk to them for an hour, 2 hours, you get the same BS answers. Once Wendy trusts you and knows that you're good at your job, but also not trying to hit people that got your questions, you get all kinds of stuff out of her. And I've done that with other people too. Once they realized that I was coming from a sincere place, they enjoy talking. They enjoy having a conversation about themselves. People like talking about themselves if you give them the right space. Yeah.
But what made you come to the realization that you wanted to be a true journalist and not just a got you kind of interviewer?
I never enjoyed watching gotcha stuff. I mean, we all,
we do once in a while.
All right, let me be honest. I enjoy watching it, but I feel bad for people when they get caught up in that. But you know what it is? I really like conversations. Even my academic training, as a social scientist and as an anthropologist, led me to spend a lot of time hanging out with people, listening to people, learning people's stories, finding out what makes people tick. I love listening to people. So when I get an opportunity to talk to somebody for a half hour, when I was at Huffington Post, I had 30 minutes with people. 30 minutes, you can't just be like, so tell me about the new album.
Right.
Because, if you go on a press junket, you have 3 minutes, people tell me about the new album. This album's the best project I've ever done. I really put something different in this. It's going to take me to the next level. I'm really excited about it.
You already know the answers before they even say it.
Everything they're going to say. But if you interview somebody for 30 minutes, after the first 5, they run out of that stuff. They ain't got stock answers. Their publicists ain't around no more. So then, now you stuck with them for 25 more minutes. And they like, well, okay, I ain't got nothing else made up to say. I might as well be honest. And then before they know it, they telling you stuff they didn't even know they want to say.
All their business.
Most of
all
it.
The
Most of it. Most of it, yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the hot topic right now. The Oscars is about to come on. I know. I Twitter stalk you too. So I'm just stalking this man for real.
It's okay.
I mean, Stacey Dash had a comment. Do you feel that Chris Rock should step down as a host, or do you feel like we should watch him as he makes his commentary? Because he's going to talk about it. He's going to talk about it. It's going to be the elephant in the room. Should he step down?
I wouldn't say he should. I think that, I was telling this to the kids earlier, and I'm going to say it in my speech tonight, resistance looks a lot of different ways, right? We have to find a complex range of ways to resist oppression and to organize ourselves. That could mean Chris Rock, the night of the Oscars, being like, I'm out. How dope would that be?
Don't you feel like he'd be blackballed, though? I'd feel like that would be
Yeah, I'm not saying he should do it. I'm saying that's an option.
That'd be
Another option is to host the Oscars and just go in the whole time.
Right.
That could be a form of resistance, right? I mean, there are lots of ways that it could look. I mean, so one thing you have to think about is, what's the long-term end game? What's the strategy? And yeah, if you get blackballed, maybe you can't produce the kind of content that would allow you to actively resist and create jobs for people and do other things. So there's lots of ways to think about it. What I would do isn't necessarily what I think Chris Rock should do or what I think you should do or what I think he should do. I think we all have to think strategically about what we want to do in our individual lives, but link that to a collective struggle.
Right.
You know, so there's no one size fits all model. I don't think Chris Rock is doing it wrong if he chooses to host, and I don't think he's doing it wrong if he chooses not to.
I think he should keep hosting. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that'd be the best thing for him. Because, you know, coming with the Oscars, a lot of people, Halle Berry said it was a curse. Monique said it was a curse. So, stepping down as the host, that would be even more terrifying. Don't you think?
Maybe. I mean, Chris Rock is in a position where he can fund his own projects and where he has money. I mean, one question you have to ask yourself is, to what extent do I want to exercise self-determination? Do I want to be able to do for myself and my people without the industry, without the machine? Might he be blackballed? Perhaps. Maybe he won't. I don't know. There's a long history of people being blackballed for standing up, and there's a long history of people being sort of redeemed, like Muhammad Ali,
Right.
You know, where history kind of, you know, redeems you and honors you and vindicates you. Again, I don't think there's a should or shouldn't. I think it's a question of figuring out what your political vision is and figuring out how that connects to a bigger struggle. I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is for black people to come together and figure out who we want to be, what we want to be, and does that include, you know, looking for Oscar recognition or not?
And that's what I don't feel like we should be looking for when there's other things going on. I feel like, do we want to be selective in who we choose to tell it to step down, or do we want to, as a representative of the black community, should we be that way, or should we just let him, you know, make his own decision and do it, not pressure him so much as in, you're black, you should stay with us and you should step down.
Right, and I don't think there's a singular black voice saying, you know, one thing or another. So, you know, it's not like we had a black people meeting and we all decided.
I'm saying though, we all gotta get together.
Right,
Man.
right, exactly. Although Black Twitter is close, like
Right.
there's a way in which we have to constantly think about, again, what our vision is and what community we're talking about. There's a whole bunch of folk whose end game is getting a lot of black people represented at the Oscars. For others, the end game is having a black film industry that's so strong and so self-sustaining that we don't care about their awards. I mean, it just depends on what your end game is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing, Dr. Cosby, I want to get your opinion on that because you spoke with Dr. Cosby's lawyer, Miss Monique Presley, very intelligent woman. There are many women that were accusing him of not even having intercourse with him, just swiping, you know, breast or
some sort of abuse. Yeah.
To us, it's like, wait, lady, y'all didn't even go through that. So, I mean, y'all didn't even, it's not that serious for you all to be crying 20 years later. So,
I don't agree with that.
I don't know how.
I don't think it's up to me to decide what's serious to somebody if they've been sexually assaulted.
But how do you decide I'm going to come out 20, 30 years later and say this man did this to me? It couldn't have been the same as if they were to do it the next day.
Why not?
Because I couldn't have that same emotion. It would have worn off by then.
What do you base that on?
My emotions. My emotions. I was based on my emotions.
Right, but I mean, I don't mean to be personal, but has this ever happened to you?
No.
Right. So when you talk to people who have been victims of sexual assault, they often say that it takes 5 years, 10 years, sometimes 20 years to feel comfortable even talking about it. So this isn't, the narrative from Cosby supporters is that somehow these women are doing something that's out of step, right? That just doesn't make logical sense, right? If it happened 20 years ago, why are you ... The truth is, that's actually very common. And it's also very common that when you come out 6 months later or 2 months later, you get harassed so much and bullied so much or ignored so much that you're further traumatized by it. I've spoken to women who told me that they were sexually assaulted by Bill Cosby who have not come forward. And they could very easily add their name to the list of women. And they decided not to because they simply don't want
the recognition.
Yeah, or the stress and drama that comes with it. I've met women who told me this before Bill Cosby was back before this was a national conversation again,
right.
Years ago. So it wasn't like they were trying to jump into a story. They just mentioned it matter-of-factly. I've interviewed several of the women who have become part of the number, and their stories are remarkably consistent. I've interviewed women who, I mean, I could go on down the list, and I've interviewed men who have been in the spaces where these things have happened, where some of these things have happened.
But do you feel as if there's like a systematic, like a path going on with even with Tyga and the 14-year-old white girl, where she's accusing him of doing something that was totally not even what the intention. So is it kind of like a systematic thing where their media is trying to destroy the the icon?
I guess what I'm trying to point out is that based on the research I've done, the interviews I've done, I find the women to be credible. So if I'm assuming that what these women are saying is true, then the media's intention to me is less important, right? This is all alleged. Let me be very clear. This is all alleged. I can't make any definitive claims about Bill Cosby's innocence or guilt. He has not been charged with anything but one charge at this point, I believe. Other than that, there have been no formal charges. So I am not saying that Bill Cosby was innocent or guilty. What I am saying is that I have interviewed women and I find their cases persuasive. And if I were a juror based on the information I've seen, I would be inclined to believe that Bill Cosby is guilty. Based on everything I've known about Bill Cosby in the years I've been on this planet, growing up in Philadelphia, interviewing people, hearing stories my entire life, seeing evidence, etc., I believe that he's probably guilty. So I begin from that place. And so for me, if I believe that he is likely guilty, it is difficult for me to think about the sort of media's role in how the story is told. That said, one of the narratives about these women is that they have just come forward after all these years. And why didn't you say anything before? The truth is these women have been saying things for decades. People have come forward before. In the early 2000s, I don't want to say the wrong year, a lawsuit was filed. In the 80s and 90s, women have come forward. This isn't the first time women have come forward. And quite honestly, if the media's done anything consistently for the last 4 decades, it's that they've ignored the allegations of Bill Cosby and continued to prop him up as a kind of moral leader of the black community.
Is it because of the Cosby Show and
Probably.
his depiction on? Okay.
I think it's Cosby Show. I think it's Uptown Saturday Night. I think Bill Cosby has represented a particular type of black person. He and Sidney Poitier in the 60s and 70s, Picture Page, Fat Albert, all that stuff in the 70s, going into the 80s. I think Bill Cosby was America's father. And I think that we sometimes confuse Cliff Huxtable with Bill Cosby.
And I would too. I'm just like, I can't accuse this man. And I've watched the Cosby Show. That I wanted to be in his family dancing on one of the staircases
right.
too. So
he's not a rapist.
Yes.
Cliff Huxtable's not a rapist. He's not being accused of rape though. The problem is we assume that because we can't imagine Cliff Huxtable doing it,
right,
that means we can't imagine Bill Cosby doing it. And I think, again, I'm not saying Bill Cosby is guilty. I'm not calling him a rapist. I'm saying Cliff Huxtable is not one. The evidence needs to be examined, and in Bill Cosby's criminal trial, a decision will be made by a jury of his peers about whether or not he is innocent or guilty. But that determination cannot be attached to a determination about our kind of fictional, emotional attachment to the characters he played or created. I still watch A Different World. I still love the work that Bill Cosby did on Picture Page. I still appreciate what he did with Fat Albert. It's not that I don't see those things and get those things.
but the allegations trump all.
Well, they're just different. They're independent. I mean, Miles Davis is one of the greatest jazz musicians of the 20th century, maybe the greatest. For me, it's Bird, it's Coltrane, it's Miles. It doesn't change the fact that Miles was a domestic abuser, that he beat Cicely Tyson consistently. It doesn't change that. We can make our own ethical and moral decisions about how we engage those figures in their work. But one good deed doesn't trump the bad deed, and one bad deed doesn't define your whole humanity. I think we have to look at people in their totality. But in the case of Bill Cosby, it's easier for us to believe that there is a mass conspiracy engineered by media, by networks, by white people, than to believe that this guy could be a rapist. He was about to buy NBC. No, he wasn't. We make up stories. We create fictions around this. I work in the media, and granted, it could happen at levels higher than my pay grade, but I have seen no evidence of a desire to frame or abuse Bill Cosby in the media based on my work. I think we're obsessed with the story.
We are.
Just like we're obsessed with Donald Trump, just like we're obsessed with ISIS, just like we were obsessed with Ferguson, just like we're obsessed with Donald Sterling. I think media loves sexy stories, and in the era of 24-hour cable media and the era of the internet, where you constantly need news, Bill Cosby makes for good fodder. He makes for good copy, and so we want to keep talking about it, even when there's nothing new to talk about. I get that.
Right.
But I don't think there's a particular obsession with criminalizing Bill Cosby. And I know we got to go, but I don't see that as what's happening here. I think Bill Cosby is someone who needs to be held accountable for his actions. And I think in a lot of ways, he's been a bully. Sexual assault stuff aside, Bill Cosby was a bully at the NAACP speech talking about black people. Bill Cosby has been a bully in other areas. In my own personal interactions with Bill Cosby, I found him to be a bully.
I swear I want to go on and on with you about this because I would love to talk to you more.
We'll talk another time.
We'll talk another time. You'll be back. But Valentine's Day is coming up. Your daughter, your twin, are you taking her out on a date? Is that your little special date for that night?
We're going to do something special. She's at an age now where she decides what we do. I used to be able to pick. Now she got opinions about stuff. So she going to pick.
So she's going to control her.
She's going to control. Okay. She thinks she is big time. She was at the Sixers game on Saturday sitting next to Meek and Nicki. So she was on Nicki's Instagram this weekend. So now she thinks she's a celebrity. So
I would too, sitting next to Meek and Nicki. I would too. Go ahead, girl. Do your thing.
So now I'm just along for the ride. She Nicki, I'm Meek. I'm just riding.
Well, what are you getting her? Do you bring her flowers? Like, what is a date with you like?
With my daughter, it's probably a little different. But my daughter gets, I definitely make sure on Valentine's Day she gets stuff that shows love. But I think more importantly, with children, boys and girls, it's important to show love all the time so they always feel valued and loved and respected. And so they don't grow up looking for love in other places, places that aren't healthy for them.
Right.
I want to show my daughter good love early so that she'll know what it looks like all the time.
And last thing, what type of music does Dr. Marc Lamont Hill listen to in the car?
Let me see.
What is your favorite artist?
I don't have a favorite artist. I mean, it just depends on what day. But I'll tell you the last 5. I'm gonna look at my iPad now and tell you what I bought last. Whatever I bought lately, because otherwise I'll be probably making something up.
Because I imagine you listen to Kendrick, maybe a J. Cole.
I listen to music from all over the world. So I'm trying to see what I listen to. I do listen to Kendrick and J. Cole. I loved his last. I loved To Pimp a Butterfly. I thought it was dope. I liked J. Cole's album last time. It really meant a lot to me because especially since I was out there with Ferguson with him. Mm-hmm. Let me see. The last 3 albums. This week I buy music every day. So this week I bought some international music. I bought this hip hop group from Palestine named Damn, which is dope, like real dope hip hop. 14 KT and Ab is this R&B group. They just make some dope stuff. There's some reggae here and some rock. Eli Paperboy Reed. I bought Natalie Cole died, so I went back and bought all her old stuff. I bought my girl Michelle Williams. I love Michelle. I bought her last gospel album. I went back and bought some old Pete Rock and CL Smooth and Bahamadia.
You throwing it back.
I was on some old school. I bought Rick Ross' last album. The joint just came out last month. That was the last new hip hop album I bought. Tyler Kweli's Greatest Hits joint. This group Dirty Projectors. Some old Mel LaRue. I mean, I bought Erykah Badu's mixtape. I bought Justin Bieber's album.
Yo, Erykah Badu too. Wait, let me see this.
Yeah, you ain't see this? Did you hear this mixtape?
No.
You got to listen to Hello. Her and Andre it's one of the best songs I heard. It's probably the best song I heard in 2015. And it came out in December. It's by far, but yo, Justin Bieber's album, don't sleep on it. It's actually real good.
I think he's a pretty dope artist. Despite his little antics, I think he's pretty dope.
And the last one I got to tell you, last two I got to tell you is Jada Kiss's last album.
Okay.
It came out last month.
With him too.
Yeah, and Adele. I bought Adele. I ain't listened to Adele and Kirk Franklin. I bought them all the same week. And Jeezy. I bought In Church in the Street. I bought all of them in the same day.
So eclectic.
But I can't listen to Adele. Oh, and my girl India Arie, I love her. That's my homie. Her Christmas album I bought too. But I can't listen to Adele yet, man. That album sound depressing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
You gotta go through something,
Right. That make you feel like you went through something listening to that. So right now I'm gonna stick to. I'm listening to old school Illmatic. I'm listening to Illmatic a lot lately. I don't know why. I just feel like listening to Nas again, and I'm still banging that Jada Kiss and this new stuff.
Well, I can't wait for everything that's going on with you. I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited for you. You got a future in this business.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah,
she's gonna be a star.
See, I was nervous before he got here. I was like, oh my God, I gotta breathe. I have to breathe with this man, honey. Okay.
Y'all too good. You too nice to me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Panthers, we got you. Make sure you all follow Dr. Marc Lamont Hill on everything social media. I already told you our Twitter stalk him. So go ahead and we're gonna let y'all be the journalist yourself and go find him on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. So thank you very much, Dr. Lamont Hill. I appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. See y'all later.